Hello, good evening. It's Nurse Melvis here. Again, I would like to start by thanking all of you that have liked and followed my page and have continued to watch my videos, like my videos, comment, and most especially send me feedback. I really value, your feedback, and obviously I take everything into account. So really, today's video is all about the different ways that you can use to enhance your NHS pay to make you earn a little bit more. So we all know, the situation with the pay. This is something that concerns so many people. An entry-level nurse currently, which is a band 5, earns just above £12 per hour. Your basic pay. So, but the good thing really with working for the NHS is the fact that you have sick pay, which increases with service. You've also got your annual leave, which increases again with your service. You've also got things like maternity leave, which increases with service. You've also got discretionary leave, such as bereavement leave, carers leave, and things like that. Most of those ones tend to be kind of more discretionary, so it depends on the management where you are. So you could get a day, you could get 2 days, it just depends. But at least, even though the pay, so the net pay is low, but actually there are so many advantages that you have working for the NHS. So sometimes we talk about the pay, but it's also worth looking at the whole picture, because if you're sick, you want to have that security that you will get some pay. If you're on annual leave, you need to have time off work to just rest, to just relax, to just re-energize yourself, and to just have that time off really. So you get that all covered if you work for the NHS, which is good. And again, all those things increase with time. So the longer you've worked for the NHS, the more you're entitled for. So now, how can you enhance your pay as a nurse? So as most of you know, most nurses tend to work so the full-time salary really is 37.5 hours a week, and you do this over 13 shifts. So you have 13 shifts a month. It's usually 12-hour shifts. So every week you do just 3, and then once a month you have to do 4, and that is it. So you have about 4, and you have 3 or 4 days off every week. And what most people do is that they use these extra days that they have to just do extra shifts at work. So if you do these extra shifts, there are 2 main ways, well, three really, 3 main ways that you can work extra shifts. The first one is through overtime. So if you work as overtime, you tend to be paid really, really well, and you're just paid monthly, like with your normal monthly pay, and the hourly rate is a lot higher than your basic NHS pay. And then the next one is called bank. So it's still extra work, but most people tend to be paid weekly with this, and this is like the preference for majority of the people, because when you're paid weekly, obviously it means that you've got that extra, even if it's £100, £200 coming in every week, which is always handy than waiting an entire month to get your normal NHS salary, if I can call it that way. So it is handy really doing a bank shift or 2 once in a while, if you just need money for, pocket money for a holiday, or just to pay off something really quick and small. It's a good way to do that. And then also some people just do agency. So with agency, obviously you can't work in your trust, you've got to work elsewhere. So this it's a kind of different different dynamic. So I won't get too much into that today. But as far as NHS staff are concerned, most people tend to do bank is kind of the main one. And with overtime, because obviously they pay for overtime and the hourly rate is higher, you find that most managers tend to prefer the staff working as bank, because even though the bank rate is a lot higher than your basic pay, it's actually lower than overtime. So overtime pays the most, if you look at it that way. But then it depends on management actually giving you the extra hours as overtime. And also, like I said, with overtime you're paid monthly with your normal monthly pay, which most people prefer to just have cash weekly, and so you can do that through the bank. And also yeah, you just do bank shifts wherever you can do them. And then, but one thing I would like to say is that despite all these different ways of earning extra cash as nurses, you can also, the best way to really enhance your pay is by trying to develop your career. So what do I mean? So between every NHS banding, so band 5, band 6, band 7, there's about £6,000 difference in the starting salary. So for example, if a band 5 nurse starts at 24,000, if you go one step higher, which is band 6, you go to about 30,000. If you go another step higher, you go to about 37,000 starting salary. So the increments are really significant if you're developing obviously your career. So I think that this is the best way to actually try to enhance your pay, because if you focus on just working extra hours, you find that on top of the 37.5 hours a week, you end up working about 60 hours, which is just way too much. And when you work so much, you don't really have time to reflect on what is going on, and you're so stressed out. You easily get burnt out, to be honest, because it's really tough. Like, nursing already is a tough job as it is. So when you work so many hours, it's very challenging. And if you're not really careful, this circle of getting, £100, £200 every week here and there, it tends to make so many people not to really develop, because they just focus on this money and they think, oh, I'm earning well, so why bother? But actually, you're not earning well because of the number of hours that you're doing. So if you were to grow and develop your career, for example, and you get to say a band 8, even if it's band 8A, you earn, like, the pay isn't bad, but you're just doing 37.5 hours. And this is something that I take time to explain to some of my clients, and I say, actually, by doing all these extra hours, you feel that you're earning more, but actually you're not, because if you just try and develop your career and earn all of that money while just working the 37.5 hours a week, it's much better, because you've got time for your family, you've got time for yourself, you've got time to think about something that you can do, you've got time to develop your hobby, you've got time to just really relax and rest, and the job then doesn't feel as stressful as it is if you're just working so many hours. Like, it's really tough, guys. Like, this is something that I've done myself. I've tried all these different methods, and I really struggled when I was doing like so many extra hours, because I found that I was really stressed out, and like it affects your work, it affects the quality of your work, it affects the quality of your family life, it affects just you as a person, your mental health. It's really tough, because I used to sit and I see some of my colleagues, and they're like going out with their children, they're having good family time, and I'm like, how are they doing this? But actually the reason for that, guys, is because they don't do all these extra hours. I'm not saying that extra hours are bad or we shouldn't do them. I'm just saying, work the extra hours, but just do it ad hoc. Do it when you need something. Like, if you're going on holidays, just be aware that you shouldn't use it as a way to earn more and forget the fact that you have to develop yourself. Because the more you develop in the banding and in terms of your career, the more you earn, and then the more you see that actually you don't need to work all those hours. You don't need to, and then you have time for yourself. The quality of your work is better. You're less stressed out. You're less likely to have burnout, because really the reality of it is that the higher you are in the NHS, the less likely you are to suffer with burnout and stress and all of this. Usually band 5 is the level where people are really stressed out, because you're on the floor every day, you're on the ward, you're doing the basic nursing skills. It's good that you just think about what else you can do rather than just do extra, because like I say, I've been there doing all those hours, and it's really tough. You can only do it for so long, and once your body starts giving in, once your back and your legs, I used to have swollen legs, I used to have to soak my legs in water, like, it's really, really tough. And I'm saying this as somebody who's experienced all of this. Guys, do the extra hours, but take time off, because while some of us are there putting in those extra hours, our other colleagues are on the other side, networking, spending time with family, taking time to update their CV, taking time to search what jobs are available, taking time to attend interviews. They are looking fresh, they are looking good, they're upgrading themselves. And before we know it, guys, we're still band 5. When the students, I had one of my clients the other day actually, and she was fuming because she'd had an interview some months back. She said she had an interview and for a band 6 position, and one of the panelists was actually a student that she had mentored in practice, like not so long ago. She said, and this student was already a matron, so that's band 8. And actually, she didn't get the job because she was told that she hasn't really got enough kind of management experience. But she'd been band 5 for over 15 years, and she was fuming. She was like, "Oh, I've done this. I've been in charge. I've been doing this." And I said, "Well, that's how it is. That's the situation." So I'm passionate about coaching. I'm passionate about career development. I'm passionate about us trying to move away from this system of, £100 here, £100 there, without really thinking holistically, without really thinking about the future. Because before you know it, it's going to be 20 years gone, and we're still here talking about exactly the same thing. We don't want this to be happening. Please, let's focus on developing our careers. If you don't have a career plan, if you're worried about interviews, if you're worried about, how do you get a CV, even if you're out of the NHS and you want to come back, contact me. We'll talk about it. We'll see what we can do, and we'll get everything sorted out for you.